Okay. Okay, how do I tell if we're really live though?
You can hear, you see the microphone
Oh,
going.
okay,
We're
cool.
live now.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first Heartbound Book Club live show for September. So in September, we read Wild is the Witch by Rachel Griffin. And you want to show your copy? He has the arc. I mean, no, he has the hardback copy, which has like the really pretty print in it. I think the first printing, and then I have 2 arcs of it. So yeah, we read this book in the month of September. If you aren't following the book club, you can check the description for our Instagram. We're Heartbound Book Club. On Instagram, and you can follow along, join our Discord. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about this book, and we read it in like early September, but we've been holding all of our thoughts in for this live show. So we're super excited to talk about it. And I have a special guest here. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Brandon. I am Alyx's partner. And yes, we read this in early September. We took I think we just took like maybe a week and a half to finish the entire thing. It was very, very short. And then Alyx decided to go on this massive spree of reading 5 books in 24 hours, which means that she's forgotten everything. But that's okay. I'm here to remind her and everybody else what's happening in this book, and then we're also going to talk about it.
Yes. Okay. So this is our first live show for our book club. So we're still trying to find a groove, but this is just like a cozy kind of like coffee chit chat to talk about the book. Again, we usually buddy read a lot. So if you are joining our book club, you know that it's a buddy reading based book club where you read with your partner, your best friend, and it's super nice to kind of like build a connection through reading a story. So okay, we're gonna do a little recap. The interesting thing about this is I don't remember anything that I read. I like lose knowledge of what I'm reading as soon as I read it. That's how my brain works. But he has like a photographic memory, and he remembers everything that he reads, like from certain like plot points and details. So he's probably going to be the one filling in the gaps in this live show, while I'll be like, I remember something, but I don't know what it is. So for a quick recap, Wild is the Witch is Rachel Griffin's second novel, and I think this one is a standalone. I think both of them were standalones, The Nature of Witches. But Wild is the Witch is a standalone novel, and it follows our main character Iris, and she is a witch, and she accidentally places a curse on this boy that it's kind of enemies to lovers. So in the beginning, she starts hating him, and she accidentally places a curse on him, and in the middle they find out that an owl takes the curse away. I'm sorry, I'm doing really bad.
No, it's okay. You can
really
just keep going.
An owl steals the curse and flies away with it. So she enlists his help to find the curse, to capture the curse, in an effort to save him, because the curse is like something really bad. You'll have to read the book to find out, but this is going to be a spoilery live show, so we're going to be diving into all of the spoilers of this book and talking about certain things. So if you haven't read it, maybe go read it and then like come back, because this video will be saved on my channel after. But yeah, we're just going to dive in. I think the first thing that I love to do in live shows is first impressions. So like, what was your first impression of this book? Having like didn't read anything, like just saw it and I gave it to you. I chose the book this month, and what was your first impression?
So my first impression, obviously, is looking at this cover. Is definitely not something that I would, usually pick up. But I always trust Alyx's book recs, so I knew that whatever she chose, it would be a really good book, regardless. And then I think because this was our first, it wasn't the book that I wanted to read for our first one, but that was okay. It was.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, okay, but I like the theme of having like witches and stuff. Like, I'm always interested in fantasy, and also I liked the premise of having this. When I'm reading the synopsis, the magic system isn't fleshed out. There's no real information. I like that in a synopsis, when it doesn't give me too much information, but keeps me engaged. So that was my first impression with seeing it for the first time, and then like having no, precog thoughts about it at all. So
yeah, I remember you weren't like happy that this was the first book, because this is our first book for the book club,
That's
but
okay.
I know, but I was super excited because Rachel Griffin wrote The Nature of Witches, and that is like one of my favorite books of all time. If you haven't read that, you have to check it out. And I think that was published like in 2021. I think it was, so pretty early still, but that was so good. And when I found out that Rachel Griffin was publishing another book, I decided to pick this for our book club because in her previous book, the way she writes enemies to lovers or like romance in books is very similar to like how we interact as partners. So I really wanted to make him read it because I know that he wouldn't probably pick up this book by himself. And also like she's so good at writing magic.
Yes.
Like
I agree.
it's very different. I would call it like soft fantasy because it's not really hardcore magic system. You know what I mean?
Well, it's when you bring there's an actual term for that, right? It was when bringing magic or fantasy into like real like now our time period and our world with like cell phones and stuff, but still having magic inside of the world. There's like an actual genre.
Speculative fiction?
I think so. I'm not sure, but like thinking what is it? The London book, The Three Londons, having this world that
A Darker Shade of Magic.
Yeah, Dark Shade of Magic, where like magic is kind of steeped into real world but it doesn't impact it in a way where it's like this is the main focus of the world. It's just an added part of it.
I think that's speculative fiction. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not going to say that, but yeah, like you know what I mean, right? It's a very natural magic system rather than just like making up an entirely different like way of doing magic. So that's why I wanted you to read it because I thought you would like it. And because the publishing company was kind enough to work with us for our first like launch of the book club and they gave copies away to our followers. So definitely follow our Instagram if you want to be a part of like future giveaways and everything. But yeah, okay, I think we can jump into the questions that we've been saving. We've been saving our book club questions for now because we don't want to spoil it. We've been really holding back not talking about this book, even though we have. Okay.
I would like to first preface that I am the questions. You're going to answer them first because I want to hear how much you forgot, and then I'll do.
No. You are the guest, so you.
No, I'm not a guest. This is a co-thing. We're working on this together. Okay. You should answer the question first.
Fine. Okay, which character do you relate to or empathize with, and why? That's the first question. So if I'm answering first, I feel like I know your answer.
Yeah, but I did focus on yourself.
Okay. So the character that I relate to or emphasize with the most is our main character, Iris, in the book. And I think it's not only because she is like the female heroine of the story. She actually, there's a lot of anxiety rep. There's like mental health awareness rep in this book. And the way that Rachel Griffin writes anxiety is, I thought, her anxiety was very true to my own experience with anxiety. And it was really cool, like having you read that because like it makes, like, and she's a character that like I can empathize with, but someone who I also relate to on like a really deep level. So I think Iris, like, you know what I mean? Like there's two characters. So I feel like you're going to say Pike.
Well, so yes, but first on that point about Iris and the way that Rachel Griffin writes about anxiety, the reason that the curse happened was that it was her way of dealing with a really big anxiety, which was that Pike alluded to the fact that he hates witches and said that her friend should burn in the beginning of the book. And that tipped her off and made her really anxious and made her afraid of her safety. And when her mom didn't respond to those feelings, she felt like she needed to do something or anything to deal with that emotion, that anxiety, which was to do a ritual with her that her grandma taught her, which was to make a curse, put magic into the ground using the herbs and stuff. Yes. Damn,
you really remember.
Yes, I
really
do.
Remember.
But that ritual is something I want to talk about because think about what you do. You think you like when you're anxious or stuff, you write down in.
Yeah, I have a ritual.
Yes, you have an actual ritual, and that's why another thing that I think is really, really good to see in the way that she writes it because it's very, very realistic.
Yeah, there's this quote. I didn't write it down, but there's this quote because there's so many parts where she's talking about anxiety. But there's this quote in the book where Iris is like, when you have anxiety, like nothing feels rational, like you're irrational, and I think that's why. In the beginning, I was kind of like, this is kind of like unrealistic, like her creating this curse. But I was like, no, this is the mind of like, this is how an anxious person kind of reacts sometimes. It's how I react, is like doing things irrationally because you think it'll help you in the short term, it'll help you feel better, but in the long term, it just creates more problems. So I think it was it was so like smart, and I read somewhere in a review that doing that ritual was like her form of therapy.
Yeah. That was my point.
Yeah. Yeah, you just wanted to flex all the details that you remember.
No. It was just like I wanted you to remember that part.
Yeah,
okay, so
I do remember that part. No, the ritual. No, the ritual is a very big part where she is like trying. She's like, it's kind of like when she's trying to like justify all her actions by like talking about them and talking to the reader as if like, this is why I'm doing this. Like I'm doing this to protect myself. He is like, he is dangerous to our family. So it was interesting to see that like inner monologue. She like thinks the way I think. And
yes, exactly.
Yeah. So okay, what character do you relate to?
Well, obviously it is Pike.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's so surprising.
We know later down in the book they form a relationship farther along than friends, so they become more intimate with each other. And I think the biggest parts that really resonated with me were later in the book where we were taught and we find out the reason why Pike would always try and annoy Iris is because he sees her and observes her having these moments of anxiety or these bouts of anxious attacks. And then he used that as a way, messing with her to try and have her refocus onto something that she could control, which was, Pike being annoying and being an asshole.
Oh, really?
Yes. So we thought, yes, later down in the book. So that really resonated with me because it's it is something that I, relate to.
So do you think he liked her in the beginning?
He absolutely did. Well, he was first probably really intrigued, but later he did. Him noticing tiny little things about her personality and the way she acted while they were interacting with each other is something that you develop when you're having a crush with somebody. And he also acknowledged that. Another thing that I related to was when Iris, in her mind during a storm, when she realized that they wouldn't be able to find the owl that night, and the rational thing would be to set up camp and then wait until the morning, she ran out into the storm trying to find the owl, which was an irrational thing to do. And then Pike, knowing it's irrational, having to go chase after her and make sure that she was okay and make sure that she was going to come back alive.
So you're saying that you're caring?
I'm saying I understand and relate.
Okay, yes, you relate to him and you empathize with him. So you empathize with him being annoying?
Do you empathize with being logical?
I mean, he was kind of annoying. Like, I understand why he was annoying though, and part of it is also like his like stubbornness, I think too. He's really stubborn.
He is very stubborn.
And he can't help that like someone else is more stubborn than him.
And also he is also like, he thinks he's always right, which is something that I need to work on as well, but I also relate to. He thinks he's always right, even though sometimes he's not. And then he realizes he's not afterwards and stuff like that. So.
And I feel like his brain works the same way your brain works. It's very like logical and very like methodical, whereas like she is super emotional and sensitive to everything. And he's kind of like, I can't really understand it. But he like makes an effort to understand everything. Like in the book, there is no part where he is like, I don't understand, like, why are you acting this way? Or he's never asking her like,
so you're saying I do that too, right?
Yeah. I'm saying you're good like that. You're like, you like give room for kind of like, understanding people rather than just like writing them off as like, so I think it helps that he kind of did have a crush for her in the beginning, but yeah. So you choose Pike. Okay. That's obvious. It's pretty obvious. I know. I was going to say something interesting. I was going to be like, I am this older sister of the witch. I just wanted to play devil's advocate because I didn't want to be obvious, because I feel
like we're saying that this book is about us, basically.
Yeah. This book is a fantasy version of our life in the real world.
Yes.
No, I know it's always like a thing when I'm like talking about like when this question is like, which character do you relate to? It feels like the main character is always the answer. So
and you try and want to deviate away from that so that you're not like.
But basic. I will say also the side characters in this book didn't really have that. Like I get that the mom was really like a big force in like the book.
The mom was more like a turning point, I would say. The mom created a background because we learned the reason why they're out there in the first place was just because the dad decided to say I'm out and didn't want to support them, and so they left, and then the dad didn't want to go with them, so he just stayed where they were. Can't remember the exact place though. But the fact that she was the fact that her mom, the fact that this background past happened, and then seeing her mom happy when their friend proposed to her, she didn't want to burden her with her problems,
as an anxious person does.
As an anxious person does. So that was kind of the role that the mom played to force Pike and Iris together.
That's true. Do you think like I'm trying to think of a question. Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to see more of like her relationship with her mom, but this book is so short. It's only 300 pages, and I was like, what? Like, why is it so short when it feels like? But it was like done perfectly. I feel like it was like a really nice bite of like everything, and not like too much. Okay, next question is, what themes stood out to you? We talked a little bit about this before. So what theme are we going to start with?
I think we should start with trust first. Learning how to trust.
Okay.
The reason why I brought this one up first is because it's a matter of both trusting, with the two main characters, Pike and Iris, trusting the other person, but also trusting themselves to be able to, share whatever they're trying to hide.
Look, trust yourself. No, I'm kidding. Oh my God.
Which is for Pike revealing the information on why he hates witches, and that's because his younger brother was being scammed by a witch who said that they could heal his cancer, and him sharing that to somebody that he was opening up to. And then also later when Iris reveals why they're actually out there, it's this giving and sharing information after a long period of time and building that trust, and then later having it get shattered on both sides.
I know. I thought the drawing out of the information was like so well paced. Like I think had it not been for how well paced this book was, I don't think this book would have not been executed well, just because it's like again, it's a journey story, but in such a sorry, reading the comments, in such a small amount of time that it's hard to. I lost my train. Okay, but yeah, trust, like you said, I actually didn't think trust was a huge theme, but before I read it, but now that you bring that up, I feel like trust is also connected to another theme that we saw, which is forgiveness. Because I do think in terms of like trust, I feel like Pike was a little bit like, I think he trusts himself a lot. I think he's pretty sure of like his what he's capable of. I think it was trusting her. Because he was tricked by that witch, he didn't have to know she was a witch. He just has a hard time trusting people in general. Like he doesn't know when to believe them,
I think the reason I was thinking trust is a big theme is because she needed to trust him, and then he needed to trust her. And then later we find out that she betrayed his trust by doing the curse and lying to him. And he, after all that time messing with her and pretending that he didn't, was this annoying asshole that didn't really care for her as well. There was also kind of a much milder version, but of betrayal of trust, because then she realized that wasn't what his real feelings were, and that shows that he was guarding himself from what he was actually doing.
I feel like I forgot this part. What are we talking about?
Okay, so no, these are general themes. Basically, when she finally tells him to save his life.
Yeah.
And that she's a witch, and that was even through everything that he told her about him hating witches, she had to do that in order to save his life. And then also later when we find out that Pike doesn't hate or doesn't have a problem with Iris, but actually really, really cares for her, that made her feel really guilty.
Yeah. Do you think her revealing that she was a witch, it will definitely impacted his trust in her, right?
Oh yeah.
How do you think she was able to? I was kind of not suspicious, but like the fact that he was able to believe, able to get along with it so well. Like after he found out she was a witch, they kind of like sort of end up making up. Like it's kind of not really explained, but he ends up like forgiving her, even though she almost like killed him.
Yes.
Could possibly kill him and cursed him. And her reasoning, what was her explanation for that? It was kind of like, it wasn't intentional. She obviously said that. But I think it's also the fact that he was able to get to know her better through this journey and like her anxiety and all of that. So I think it was better for him to understand. But it was a little quick the way he was able to like.
Do you remember that she saved his life?
Oh, yes. Sorry, I forgot about that. No, yeah.
So she saved his life, and he knows that she saved his life.
So
because he like during the time, the reason he knew that if she wasn't there when this was all happening, yes, it's her fault, but she, saved his life and caused him from burning up, and because he knows what would have happened, he would have, burst into flames.
Yeah.
Because he knows about the story about him.
Why did I forget like half of the book?
Because your memory.
No, okay, yeah, because so it shows him like even though she did place a curse, like she was more than willing to sacrifice herself.
Yes.
To take that curse back because she was wrong to do it in the first place.
Yeah. Remember the burns that she got?
Yeah.
So.
Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, trust is a big one. Do you only think it was trust between those two characters, or do you find trust anywhere else, or no?
Well, it's the fact that she's lying to her mom on why.
Her mom has so much trust for her.
Yeah.
To allow her to go into the woods with a guy like for a few days.
But do you remember she gave her a condom? So
I know I know, but still, it was like what? Like how could my mom would never do that.
Obviously not. No.
Your parents would.
No, I would. My parents would.
Exactly. So like the amount of trust that she has, and I think that has to do with like I don't know, probably just their relationship. Again, it's not explored that much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What are the themes? Forgiveness. That is a huge theme because I feel like she, through this journey, yes, Pike had to forgive Iris, but I feel like Iris had to forgive herself.
Absolutely. Do you remember the beginning when she blamed herself for her friend's death? Because she thought that she was supposed to be there. Make sure she stopped.
That was a big one because
not her friend, her friend's boyfriend's death.
Yeah, her friend's boyfriend's death, and she had to forgive herself for doing that. And I think during this journey, you can see that she definitely gets in her head a lot when she's trying to solve this problem because she can't forgive herself. I also think it would have been easier to forgive herself had she told Pike earlier on, though, because do you think Pike helped her forgive herself?
Yes, because through talking with Pike and realizing that, first of all, the where she was in terms of what the reason she made the curse and everything was wrong. And then later down the line when she sacrifices, doesn't fully sacrifice, but sacrifices her life for Pike. That was her journey for forgiveness, realizing that this person, even though everything that happened, he's still willing to be here. So,
do you think her punishment was appropriate from the witch council, or like?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you think it was appropriate?
Yeah, she gets to train him.
I mean, I guess, but I feel like there could have. I don't know. I just feel like there could have been a bigger punishment, or I guess like for the possibility of.
I mean, nothing bad happened.
I mean, that's true, but if you're gonna set that as a precedent, then like you can do whatever you want as long as the outcome is not bad. Like, that seems dangerous.
I mean, it was like, what was it? I forgot how long it was. It was like either 6 months or 6 years of community service. Can't remember which was she.
6 months versus 6 years is a lot.
Yeah, I know. I think it's 6 months, but basically she had to train him during that time. And the other thing was that she had her I can't remember the relationship, but her aunt or her friend, the person that came out and helped her and basically saved her.
No, that was the best friend's sister.
Yeah. She was backing her up to the witch council because she was on the witch council. I know,
but you know how I feel about, it's just like it seems like it seemed like a big deal.
But I mean like her friend, her friend's sister kind of basically bailed her out. By saying that nothing really bad happened to the witch council. Witch council didn't really.
Oh, the witch council didn't know the extent of like her curse.
Probably not because she is on the witch council, so she was on the field, and she's the one reporting back. So
what other ways has forgiveness shown up?
I think it's definitely. I think the one we talked about, the biggest one is her forgiving herself for multiple reasons. I
think that's like the biggest theme is her forgiving herself.
I will say though, you did talk about how you thought that Pike forgiving her was really quick, but I think that's just because of the length of the book.
That's not it. I mean, I guess. I think a big one definitely is her forgiving herself because I think anxiety plays such a big role in this book. I think it's important that the author actually put that in. It's actually a big lesson, I think, and it helps for readers as someone like who suffers from anxiety. Reading that was like powerful because it wasn't only like other people will forgive you. That's like the biggest part, like it doesn't matter if other people don't forgive you. It's you forgiving yourself and you trying to not be so hard on yourself. And I think her writing that into the book made me feel so seen and made me felt like, oh, like if she could forgive herself for almost killing, like setting this guy on fire and setting the like Pacific Northwest, like turning them into witches, then like we can forgive ourselves for like a lot, you know, less obviously. So yeah, that was like a beautiful lesson, I think. Yeah, I really like. Anything else? Forgiveness. What other themes? I'm trying to think what other themes. Definitely there's like, I think in all her books though, there is a theme of preserving nature, the beauty.
Well, I wouldn't know because it's the first one from me.
I know. But in this book, did you feel like you got like a very like naturey like?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love the her descriptions of the Northwood are very beautiful and also kind of haunting as well, especially.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, because it's in my eyes, it's a really dark book in terms of just like if it were to become a film, which I hope it doesn't, just because film adaptations are always horrible.
Whoa, that's a big controversial.
All right, I won't say anything.
It's a big controversial.
But basically, if the color scheme from it would be really dark to me, just because of the events that happened, and also kind of how magic is seeped into the story. It's a very, very like, in my eyes, dark.
I know, it's crazy because like when we picked up this book, we didn't expect it to be so dark. Like it literally starts out with a death.
Yeah,
and that's like really scary to read about that and see how it impacts the character.
I sent you a message. It's like cremation in the first 5 pages.
Yeah, you said, and it's like it really gets super dark to the point where I think the mental health aspect, the anxiety brings another like aspect of darkness, just because it feels like she can't escape. It's suffocating.
Yeah.
Like her anxiety is like suffocating her, and it's making her irrational. It's making her like not impulsive. It's making her a little bit reckless. Like it's really suffocating, and I think that adds a dark aspect to it. But I love the way that she was able to write like anxiety in a book about fantasy, you know, in this world that we know that witches exist. Wait, what witch is she again? She's like the animal one, right?
So that was something that I wish we could have seen more of. But the thing is, it didn't have to be explained, because the way that the magic system worked is it was just magic was an inherent like outside, like basically like a force of a physical force.
Yeah,
it was something that existed in the universe and then could be drawn upon and then used. There was never any running out of it or like self-running out of it. It's just something that like you could tap into.
What is that like science term? Energy cannot be like created or no energy cannot be whatever. What is that? Back me up.
Oh, okay, all right. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred.
That's like what this book is, right?
Yes.
Magic cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred or like, you know, summoned from the universe.
Tapped into,
yeah. So I love the descriptions. We're getting off topic, but
getting off topic.
I know, but I love the descriptions of how like the older growth woods have more magic. Like what the heck?
That description is why I was thinking it would be really dark. Like thinking about like in your head, picturing a forest that's like centuries old.
Yeah.
Just the kind of like densely packed nature of these really massive tall trees, and how the light probably wouldn't be able to reach the surface.
Yeah, like very damp, very dark. Yeah, I like that, but I love the imagery. You know, it's such powerful imagery, and I think the story matches the like the themes that we see in this book. What's funny, I know I keep talking about the first book. I'm gonna make you read the first book after this, because the first book is so good.
Okay.
The first book is very different too, but the first book is so much lighter. I feel like it has this airiness because it's just.
I'm gonna like it less then.
Oh really? Because it's very whimsical. Yeah, you like dark stuff.
I like dark stuff.
But this book is very dark. So, any other themes before we?
I think we should move to the next question.
Okay. Yeah. Did you gain a new perspective from reading this book? Me first.
Yeah, because you tricked me. You got me to answer the question last one first.
Oh,
but now you probably remember everything because I told you everything already.
No, okay. Did I gain a new perspective from reading this book? I think I did. This is going to offend you so much. I don't think I gained a new perspective in terms of like Iris's character. Iris's whole spiel was that she is a witch. Like she has so much power, but she also has a lot of anxiety, and she has to grapple with the fact of having all this power and not abusing it, but also like learning the best ways to use it, because she feels so many things at so many times, and she's so emotional. I think I gained a new perspective because I can understand how you operate as a person.
That's not fun.
No, it's good, because like it's this character who's very much like you. Like Pike is very much like you. He operates in the same way. He's sort of, he's a cocky bastard who thinks he's right all the time and thinks that like everyone else is, no, I'm kidding.
Well,
but I think I gained a new perspective because I was able to understand his like endearing love and care for her, but that he has these like sort of things that he just like can't let go of. Like he thinks he's right because sometimes he is, but also because just like the way he, so like in the mind of someone like Pike, someone like you, I also think this gave me more a perspective on like forgiveness. I think less forgiveness for yourself, but forgiveness from other people. Because I also think that one thing this book taught me was that you can't get forgiveness all the time. Remember how the best friend was stripped of her powers? Like that seems to be on like the really extreme end. And that's why I was like, why wasn't she stripped of her powers? Like they know that she's the friend of this girl who did something like this before. So like that has to add to the problem. You know what I mean? So I was very surprised that they didn't punish her. That's my only reason why I think they should have punished her more, was because she was best friends with someone who got stripped. So why wasn't the sister mad? Because her sister, they remember the sister.
Because the sister didn't want her powers to be stripped. She was against the idea.
I know she was against it, but when I don't know, for me the way I would be.
Well, you're also a very spiteful person.
No, I'm not. What? Okay, the way I would be thinking is like, damn, like if my sister got stripped of her powers, like why shouldn't this girl be experiencing the same thing? Because it's like precedent. Again, it's precedent. By the book, precedent. But maybe I am a spiteful person. I just feel like it should have been.
In your eyes, I think it's very much, it's like if this happened to this person, this should also happen.
But see, that's what this book taught me. It taught me how to think otherwise. It taught me how to forgive people and not, clump people in the same situations just because they have done the same thing. Like every situation is different. So yeah, that's new perspective that I've got. Even though I'm a little upset, but I kind of like accept it. Radical acceptance.
Yes, radical acceptance.
For
me, I think the book really didn't, for the character wise, it didn't really teach me anything new in terms of like the perspective of an
Pike. Anxious person.
Well, for Pike, obviously not, because I'm literally Pike. Like I do the exact same things as he does, and it's really but also now I realize a little bit that it is annoying, and I should do it a little bit less. So I apologize to you.
Wait. Sorry. Keep going.
Yeah. And then, but for Iris, reading, I've always wanted to know exactly what's happening in your head, and this did a really good job of showing kind of the thought process of somebody who's kind of ruled by their emotions a lot. But also like how that can impact and how that can twist the world around you when you are worried about something that you can't control. Or when Iris couldn't control it, she would have to do something in the moment to kind of, one, make her feel better, but also to try and change it, even though there's absolutely nothing that she can do about it. So understanding that is really, really helpful to then be able to focus on how to support that and make sure that I don't come off as somebody who's going to say like, oh, just get over it.
Oh my god, yeah. If you need someone to understand what it's like to like talk to someone with anxiety or how to like broach conversation, make them read this book, because this book is like absolute.
It's really good.
It's kind of like therapy. I think for us reading it, because it was so similar to our relationship, it was so insightful into each other's minds. Like you're right. Like I can't read your mind, you can't read mine, but reading this book, it felt like the closest thing to reading your mind. And I bet you felt the same way. I
felt the exact same way.
Yeah. I want to show look what I wrote. Okay, look. So there's a passage. I'm going to read a passage on page 95. He says, "It's Iris, don't move. There's a cougar." And she responds, "I know that," I hiss. "That's why I told you to stay in your tent." And look what I wrote on the thing. I wrote, "Such a Brandon move," because it is something that he would do. It would be like, he would like say something and I'd be like, duh, I know that. What did I tell you that? So, and there's so many lines in the book where I said that. I wrote, "This is such a Brandon thing, and this is such a you thing." Look, literally Brandon, like that's literally what I wrote.
I personally don't write in my copies because I think preserving them. But
this is an arc, so I would have.
Anyway, go on.
Yeah, no. So there were just so many Yeah, it's a Brandon thing. Yeah, and look, and in certain parts I would write like ass because he was just being such an asshole. But
It is very insightful realizing
Yeah.
that some of the things that I do are like really, really annoying and
yeah,
terrible.
it's not really annoying. It's like condescending.
Yeah, it's condescending.
Yeah, it's but like you do that sometimes.
Yeah.
You do say these things, but then I love how she's as snarky, but she's able to keep up with him. Like
Yes.
he'll say something annoying or condescending, but she'll be like, I knew that, or like she'll like be able to keep up with him, and I feel like that's kind of how our banter is. Do we have banter?
You have me laughing at you.
What?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
Do you even know what banter is?
Yes.
That's not what banter is. Laughing at someone.
I know, which is why it was funny.
So what's banter?
Banter is when we go back and forth, when we make fun of each other.
Okay. So do we not have that?
Well, sometimes the reason I said I'm laughing at you is because sometimes you don't get my banter.
Oh, because you stop shaking it. Stop shaking it. Okay. Yeah.
This is banter right now.
What are we talking about?
Well, we had just finished talking about
Okay.
perspectives.
Okay. Another question. So the next question, the fourth question is, do you have the same motivations as the characters? Can you go first?
Okay, I can go first.
Okay.
One thing that I really enjoyed reading about and seeing is Pike. Even though he was in the beginning supposed to, in quotes, hate Iris, he was willing to drop everything to go with her on this journey that he thought. And the only reason he agreed was because he saw how much it meant to her.
Because he wanted to get with her.
No, absolutely not. He didn't think that. Like, I don't think at the very beginning he even really realized his own feelings for her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He was just noticing her and seeing her the way that she was, noticing these things and developing a crush in the beginning, and then but right when he could see that this was bothering her and that she needed somebody to go with her, like despite everything telling her not to do, she still asked her. She still asked him. She still asked him, and he said yes anyway. So.
I know. I was so surprised. Actually, not really. Okay. We forget. She literally held something over him. She's like, we'll hire you for the summer. So your argument isn't really correct.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
She's literally like, my mom said she would hire you for the summer for an internship if you agree to go. And that's like literally, I don't think, that's what I'm saying. I don't really think he had
I forgot about that.
I don't think, okay, this might piss you off. I don't think he had a crush on her in the beginning. I just think he's annoying.
Okay.
So like,
but he did notice it before though. He did say that he talked about it before.
I mean, you can talk all you want.
I mean, then you could also say that the only reason he brought up the idea of working at the internship again is so that he could spend more time with her.
Whoa, that's jumping on the horse a little bit.
But you can say both sides,
That's true, but again, like I don't know, the way he was acting, it sort of felt like he definitely.
I think that's just good writing. Because I think middle school or elementary school crushes, it's all about insulting the other person that you actually like.
That's so mean.
It's true.
If you like me, I don't want you to insult.
This is elementary school. This is just him being immature and trying to do that the same thing.
Okay. Sorry. Back to the question. Do you have the same motivations as the characters? What were we saying?
Is that the question?
It is. Do you have the same motivations?
Do I have the same motivations? Yes, because I would do anything to care about you.
Okay. Oh my god. Okay, do I have the same motivations?
Wow, all right, Jen, just rejected.
Do I have the same motivations as the characters? I'm trying to. Can we go back a little? What is Iris's motivation? I forget.
Save her own ass. So yes, she does.
No, I don't think Iris's motivation. No. Oh my god, I know. Iris's motivation is literally putting herself before everyone. Oh, sorry. Putting other people before herself. I'm sorry. That was so bad. Iris's motivation in life is literally putting people, she's selfless, like AF. Like she puts her mom's feelings and happiness before her own. She puts Pike's debatable. She puts the freaking owl's feelings over her own because in the end, when the owl is dying, like let the owl. No, sorry, don't let the owl die. But like the owl stole the curse. Like he literally put you through all this trauma, and you're like still caring about the owl until this very last second. Like I just feel like, damn, like she really cares about all the animals and she cares about everyone before she is even concerned with her own feelings. So that's like her biggest motivation. And I would say that's like my motivation sometimes. Like I put a lot of people before myself.
Now here's a bigger question. Is that healthy?
This isn't therapy.
No, I'm asking you. Do you think that with Iris doing
yeah.
that, do you think that that was a good thing for her to do?
I think it was a pretty effective way. Like it was a pretty good way in this book. I think it just shows how much more she needs someone like Pike in her life to remind her that she should care. See? It's good. Like I think it's good to a certain extent, but as long as you have the other side, you still care about yourself. Like, you know, sometimes on the side as much
sometimes on the side. Okay. I think yes, that is
Okay.
her motivation.
Yeah.
But I also think that there is some selfishness because she realized that she messed up. She's trying to fix her mistake and try to alleviate the guilt inside of her.
Yeah, I guess.
But the motivation of her trying of caring about everybody except for herself, yes, I agree that it is something that you are.
Yeah.
Do
you think she's selfish?
I think she's selfish in the way that, like, let's say you do something bad and then you say, oh, I want to fix this to, you know, make sure that I don't hurt anybody else. But you're also fixing it because, you know, you messed up.
But isn't that like what normal people do? Like,
yeah, but that's why that's inherently selfish.
It's inherently selfish.
Because you're trying to alleviate the guilt that you feel.
Yeah, the reason why I like her so much, she's kind of a reflection of me. In some ways, I think that by doing things, I'm helping other people, but really I'm just serving myself.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of what she ran into in the book, was she like was trying to do the right thing, but it ended up hurting a lot of people. And then in the end, it was literally like the slow unfurl of chaos, like in the beginning of the book, from her like doing this one thing that she thought was like even talking about it's making me anxious, because like in the beginning of the book she thinks she's so self-righteous and in the right, and then she ends up creating a bigger problem for like through the middle of the book. The way the chaos at the end is just
that's what all the other thing is also like, if she was really caring about everybody else around her completely, then she would have told Pike right away.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
She should,
and she would have told her parents right away.
I think she should have told her parents, her mom first. I think she should have told her mom straight up, like should have told her mom, maybe not Pike, because I think if she told Pike, there would have been some like consequences. Because remember, Pike and her hadn't developed that relationship.
Yeah, but going off of the point of saying that if she was like really conscious of everything around her.
That's true. So she is inherently selfish, but she tries to be selfless.
Yes, but which is also just a human thing.
Yeah, right? That's understandable.
Which is also, again, good writing. Rachel Griffin, well done.
Yeah, right.
Really good writing.
This book is like amazing. I'm serious. Like we're only digging into like the surface. Like there's so much more that we could dig into with this book. Like I feel like we haven't talked a lot about like the magic system in the book and the way it was kind of created. Do you think it was interesting having like the humans know about witches?
Yes, I wanted to say that in the beginning.
Yes.
I wanted to talk about that because this idea, a lot of the times when you have a magic system that is set in place in modern times, there's almost always some kind of conflict. Either it is secretive where nobody knows about it, or there's conflict where people are trying to, get rid of the people with magic, or there's inherent jealousy. There is some of that because, people who don't have magic, like her friend's boyfriend wanting to become a witch and this desire to have it. And also with Pike's younger brother, and them trying to trust this other witch to help with their with the cancer. There's that kind of disparity there, but it's very, very much like integrated into the society. There's no real conflict in the way like witch hunts or anything like that. It's just like it's known about, people know it exists. There might be some stigmas here and there because of mistrust, but like it's in the world instead of this and then real world and then mashed together. So really well done with that.
Is this the first time you've read a book where magic is known to the human world? Oh, I feel like in Atlas 6, sorry, we shouldn't be talking about other books, but in Atlas 6 they do magic is known to the world, but that's like a different kind of magic.
No, but you see that like in Atlas 6,
yeah,
that's not really known. It's known by like a certain group of people. This is known by everybody.
Society, yeah. This is, I mean, I wish it was explored more how the world knew about magic.
I wish there was more interaction in that way.
Yeah.
So that's 300 pages is not a lot. So I think it got across what it wanted to get across.
Yeah.
But
because I feel like we only got the side of humans who hate witches. we didn't really see what it was like for humans to appreciate witches and
Sure.
what witches offered to the world. You know, like what did they do? Like, did they talk about it? I don't really remember. I'm sorry, I have really bad memory.
It's okay. So they talked about
like what
I forgot completely is the different kinds of witches. But I do know that.
No, I remember that.
Okay, you want to explain?
No. There's a stellar. There's an animal. There's stop. It is. The stellars are the most powerful witches. They can human emotions and stuff. They can't like alter it, but they can soothe you. Wait, is she a stellar? Oh my god, I'm so confused. Okay, wait, sorry, keep talking.
But I liked the way. I think if it didn't have the different kinds of witches, it still would have been a really like the magic system would have been really strong already. Like it didn't need to have the different kinds of witches. If it was just this magical force that could be used for different things, such as when Iris, interacts with her wolf, whose name is Luna, and also helping with the I believe it was.
There's a wolf. No,
I can't remember what animal that they were called out to treat in the beginning, but trying to.
It was a wolf. It was a wolf
to soothe the wolf by just touching it, and that idea where she was channeling magic and then communicating with the wolf and having that wolf, respond back in that natural.
I got it. Mom and I are both lunars. Our magic is strongest animals. So lunars are the animal witches, and stellars are like human witches. I think there's more than two categories. Like they deal with human emotions and their magic is strongest on humans, and then the lunars influence animals. And there might be like a plant one, but I don't really remember. It's not that fleshed out. But there's this quote on page 44. She writes, "I learned a long time ago that nature has a way of easing the wound up gears in my chest, of loosening the knots I've tied tighter and tighter over the years." That was like the first taste of like something with like anxiety and how her magic. She literally like loves her magic.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm trying to think of something that I love as much that helps me with like my anxiety, which is probably reading. Reading to me is like magic. It's like you're entering new worlds and you can be any character that you want, and it makes me like it soothes me and it helps me loosen up a little bit. And music, is that way for you? Or no? Okay. Volleyball?
Well, I don't have anxiety. So I don't have something that I don't.
Yeah.
But it's yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I understand that, but that's what I mean, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do know what you mean. I absolutely understand.
Yeah, so it's an interesting, and I think even in her last book too, I don't know if they operate in the same universe, but like magic is known to the human world. That's such an interesting thing to operate on. Like if I was writing a book, I would be like, no, humans are too complicated. Like take them out. We need to have the witches are operating in their own secret society because. Yeah. But I think it adds. I applaud Rachel Griffin for doing that because it adds a lot of complexity and nuance to the story.
It also is not cliched if you do it this way, but it's very difficult. But also it's not.
Yeah, it's so you think books with witches that are like not known or cliche.
Well, there's so many books that of a secret society of some kind of magic that operates in the shadows, or there's like a secret war that's happening between non-magic people and magic people. There's always some kind of conflict between it. But then just having it like out in the open where everybody knows about it. Some people have magic, some people don't. That's a little bit less.
Okay, I wanted to ask you, have you read a lot of witch books in your day?
Witches?
Not really. Okay, I love witch books, and I've read a lot of witch books, and these specific witch books are so unique. Like Rachel Griffin's witch books are unlike any other witch book I've ever read. I read quite a lot. I've read quite a lot. I would qualify Atlas 6 as a witch book, actually. It is a witch book. Aren't they called mages or wizards or whatever? I don't know.
Are you counting wizard books as part of witch books? Because then I have read.
Are they the same? I don't know.
So
no, they're not really,
mages, like the thing is with witches is they're usually tied more to natural settings.
Gabby loves witch books.
Yes, I saw that. But like witches are usually tied to like either male or female witches are tied to like natural settings, so warlocks or that kind of stuff, or like natural world, which is why you can kind of argue that what's her name? N.K. Jemison's books.
N.K. Jemisin? Really?
Yeah.
You mean the 5th season?
Yeah. You can argue that those are witch books.
I guess. I mean witch books in like the sense where they say witch. So like
then it's a little bit different because
you haven't read many?
Nothing with a title for a witch, no.
Were you hesitant when I asked you to read a witch book? because some people find witch books to be very, I mean, in our popular media, we know witches as like, very like stereotypically brooms, big hats, but like, so did you did you have those assumptions going into this book?
No.
Okay.
So for me, witches have always been something that is like set in like I love folklore, so I don't shy away from the idea of witches because it is very steeped in folklore and talking about like more of a natural state of magic, which is why I like it like that. But I also just like enjoy any fantasy books. The reason I probably haven't read any witch books is because I just kind of pick, before I met you, I just picked books off the shelf and didn't really care about reviews or anything like that.
I think what's so interesting about this witch book is that it's steeped so much in nature. So the author Rachel Griffin lives in the Pacific Northwest, and she loves the Pacific Northwest. Like she talks all about it on her Instagram. She talks about preserving the environment, but also like the creatures there. So I think the what type of owl again?
It was a northern spotted owl.
Are you sure?
Yes, I can find the page if you don't trust me.
Okay, anyway, so during her pre-order campaign, Rachel Griffin donated donated proceeds to the Help the Endangered Spotted Owl. And then I think in her first book, she donated most of her proceeds to grow trees for every like pre-order, which is so cool because you can really tell Rachel Griffin's love for like nature and the environment through her books. And her book, right? Like, didn't it come across the magic system? Okay, whatever. Didn't it come through in her book that like the way she wrote the magic system is just this like undying love of nature and environment?
Yes, absolutely. I really love her descriptions of the North Woods and just the fact that like if we were to go travel to the North Woods, we would probably feel the same way. We would feel that there's some kind of magic there because of just the setting of it is it's haunted.
I know. It makes you want to go to the Pacific Northwest.
It does.
Right? Yeah, because you'd feel magic. Yeah, it feels kind of spooky. It's perfect for Halloween. All right, our last question. So our last question that I wanted to ask, because I know you like music, is what songs does this book make you think of? And we kind of created an entire playlist on Spotify. And we listened through it already, but we wanted to share some of our music recs. I don't know how to share this playlist, but it's the Wild is the Witch playlist.
I mean, we can share it on Instagram later.
Yeah, we can share it on Instagram later, but do we want to play the songs? I feel like that's a lot. We can just say them.
We can choose one of each that we like, one song that we chose, and then one song that you chose, and then one song I chose, and we can play both of them. And, like,
not all the way through.
No, our favorite.
Yeah, not all the way through. Yeah. Okay, I'll just share. Let's share. I'm gonna share like all the songs that I put in here, and then we'll start playing them. Okay, so I put "Ceilings" by Lizzie McAlpine, "Alaska" by Maggie Rogers, "Running with the Wolves" Aurora, "Black Water Lilies" Aurora, "WITCH" by Devin Cole. That one's a really good one. I like that one. And then I'm not gonna use that.
No, you just say the ones that you
okay. It Gets Dark by Sigrid, A Dangerous Thing by Aurora, Home by Katie Turner. That's, oh my God, I put a lot. And what were yours?
So I put Hideaway by Dan Owen, River Water by the Spencer Lee Band, In the Woods Somewhere by Hosier, and Burn the Witch by Sean James.
That's too on the nose. No, I'm kidding.
Well, it says yours with WITCH.
No, but it means something else. Okay. Do you want to play it?
Well, we could talk about
why we chose it. Okay. Well, let's pick one that we want to talk about. Okay. Fine. Okay. So I chose Running with the Wolves by Aurora. I think, do you agree with me? Like, Aurora is such a good fit for this book.
Yes.
Like, Aurora has such a haunting voice that I feel like it matches this book's energy so well, since the book itself is very haunting. And like Brandon said, it seems like it's very dark and mysterious. And I think, are you playing it out loud?
No, I'm turning your volume down.
And it seems like this type of like Aurora's music would be, stop playing it. You're distracting me. Okay. You're distracting me.
Focus.
Okay. So yeah. And Running with the Wolves by Aurora is like her, I don't know, I haven't really read the lyrics, but it's like her running with the wolves.
Wow.
And in the book, she actually our main character has a pet wolf named Luna. So I thought it was really like it was kind of like the storytelling of that song was very much reflected in this book, with her kind of having the wolves as a friend and her relying on animals and nature as like friends, and like she's very intuitive with the animals, like she understands how they're feeling, and that's kind of how that song is. So yeah, I could probably look up the lyrics next time.
Yeah, that'll probably be a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your song?
So I also want to make a point that the songs that we chose I chose a bunch of male singers, and then.
Well, that's just because our music taste. You don't have to put like a statement.
No, I just think it was funny. Like all of my songs are a lot darker than hers, and
my songs are dark. What are you talking about? I literally have Aurora on here. That is dark and like Home. That's a sad song. Okay, what? Go.
And so I'll talk about In the Woods Somewhere by Hosier. So Hosier, if you're a fan of Hosier, you know that he's sometimes.
Isn't it Hosier?
Hosier. I like.
Okay, yeah.
You like Hosier?
Hosier.
I like saying Hosier because it just sounds better
yeah.
to me. But you know that he's known as the Woodland Changeling. He kind of just walked out of the
woods.
woods.
Who said that?
His fans.
Oh.
So guess you're not one.
I guess I'm not one.
Well, in some places he's called that. Where his music, he has a lot of songs that are very much like steeped in natural settings, and the kind of topics that he talks about in his lyrics are very much like tied in with nature, and that's why I enjoy his music. I also enjoy, because I'm a musician playing, and I enjoy his voice a lot because it's something that I can emulate as well. So In the Woods Somewhere, it's basically a storytelling song that is in theme kind of similar to a chase through the woods with two characters, a male and a female. So I thought it would fit the book really, really well. And also the vibe of the song is very much like, if you play this out in the North Woods, it would fit very, very well.
Why do you keep saying the North Woods?
Because that's how I see it.
Oh. No. I
know it's the Pacific Northwest,
yeah, I know.
But
I've never heard anyone call it the North Woods. Maybe it's called the North Woods though. I do really like that song too. You actually played it. It was really, I think Hosier has he has like a deep voice that I feel like it's like that kind of voice where like you can listen to like when you're alone in the woods, and it would feel really peaceful. But that's the same with Aurora's too. Like I feel like we chose, they're like they're really good artists for this type of book. So yeah, if you follow us on our Instagram, we'll put the Wild as the Witch playlist on our Instagram now. Yeah, I'll share it on like Instagram, because now that we've talked about the live show, I didn't want to reveal it because I wanted to talk about it in the video, but if you follow us on our Instagram, we'll put the playlist on there so that you can check out all the songs. Because if you read this book, I feel like these songs are such, like, we're so good at picking music. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, wow.
I'm kidding. But yeah, I'm really like it. It feels like you're rereading the book again.
Yes. When we listened to the playlist for the first time in the car, right after we finished reading the book, all the songs were like, we could talk about it, and it felt like we were reliving the book, just like you said.
Yeah, it was like a kind of, even if you haven't read the book, I feel like it'd be worth it to listen to these songs, just because I feel like if you like these songs, you'll kind of be influenced to read them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're like, I love this vibe, and you'll be like, oh my God, this is the vibe in book form. So I also love when authors create playlists for their own songs, like what songs they use. Oh yeah. What songs they listened to when they wrote the book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Agreed.
Yeah. Any last comments you wanted to make about this book? Any praises? I've already been singing my praises for Rachel Griffin because I love her so much. Well, she's literally releasing another book.
Yes, I remember you talking about that.
I'm so excited.
I'm excited. Trust Alyx's book corrects. They're always good. I haven't read.
Yeah, don't judge a book by cover.
Well, except for one book, but we won't talk about it. That's fine.
Excuse me, your book too, The Demon King.
Okay, all right. Do you want me to say it? What was it?
No slander on the live show.
Me? Wow.
No slander on the live show. Okay, okay. No, but like, don't judge a book by its cover. 100%. And
I don't think I did for this book, genuinely.
You low-key kind of did.
No, I judged the title.
You judged the cover of a girl like flipping her hair. And
I did not judge it.
Yeah, I feel like to some extent this book, I mean, the cover, it kind of does come off as like, it's like kind of girly, kind of like, it's like it looks like romance, right? It looks like romance.
Yes.
But I would say
I said I didn't judge it. It's just something I wouldn't pick up. Like I'm not judging it because of that.
So
it's just that I didn't think it would be something that I would be interested in. I'm not saying like it's a bad book.
Yeah, but that's what I like about her books is that romance is not the center of the story.
No, it's not.
It's not at all. Romance is kind of just like a like not a plot device, but like
Well, it
something
wasn't tacked on either. And sometimes when you have a book and then suddenly, oh, there's a romance just thrown in there.
Yeah, it was built up really well, and it was built up really well, and I feel like the romance kind of took a back seat to like the main story of like a story of anxiety and like emotions and like nature, and I feel like that to me is like the most important part of a book. And yeah. All right, so we've kind of, okay, wow, we're like at exactly an hour. We're gonna be finishing this up. Okay, so yeah, that was our live show for Wild as a Witch by Rachel Griffin. If you are joining us, if you missed this month and still want to read with us and join in our live shows, we have so many fun things. Well, not really, but we can plan some fun things.
No, we have fun things.
We have fun things.
We have fun things.
We have fun things planned. So our October book, it's October 2nd, so definitely get your hands on this, is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan.
I chose the book.
Okay,
Yay.
whoa. Do you want to talk about it? Like why you chose the book?
So
this is a backlist title, but yeah.
Yeah, so I chose the book because I have a lot of interest in Asian culture, well, specifically Chinese culture, because I was living there for like 15 years and I, grew up there. And I'm going to use the Poppy Wars as a good example for this, is that after I read the Poppy Wars, seeing the kind of fables and stories that were told back at home, put into a story so well in that, series, I want to see it. I want to see it done again, and Asian representation, and also bringing to light these old stories is something that I really like to read about and then also enjoy. So this is one of those, and I skimmed the synopsis, but I didn't want to read the synopsis until we started.
Yeah, don't.
So
but October is spooky season, so we've got another. I would call this spooky. It's like kind of, I know it's going to be dark, so like I equate dark books with perfect books to read for the fall, but definitely pick up your copy to read with us in October, and we'll be announcing our live show dates and all our questions and everything on Instagram, so make sure to follow us at Heartbound Book Club on Instagram to just join in on all the fun. We might have a little giveaway. I really love giving away books, but yeah, so I'm really excited. I didn't get to read this title when it came out. It came out in 2021.
I believe so.
Yeah.
That was
So it came out last year and I didn't get to read it, so I'm super excited. But thank you for everyone who came to our live show. And if you're watching this after it is streamed, definitely check us out on Instagram and make sure to join us live for the next one, because it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.